I am a girl's girl, but I ride solo. Absolutely solo. I love the girls. Absolutely love the girls. I want the girls to win. However, I feel my motion is better riding solo. Do let me know in the comments if you understand this, that actually you can be a girl's girl, you want the girls to win, but effectively you're a loner. Your motion is solo dolo and you move on this earth by yourself. I've got reasons why, but firstly I want to understand in the comments if you understand what I mean. Let me just explain. For me personally, look, I'm doing this whole entire thing. I'm not selling you a course. I have no intentions to sell you a course. I'm not selling you absolutely nothing. I want you to win because I'm a girl's girl. I don't even know who you are in person in this world, but whoever you are listening to me, I want you to win. And I always say, in particular, my black women, I want you to collect the bag. I want you to be on the trips. I want you to have the very best life. I want you to win in all aspects. I want you to have an amazing husband. I want you to have a great relationship with God. I want you to win. But I'm still riding solo. I'm riding solo and doing my motion by myself. And there are particular reasons for that. At first, I used to be confused. Let me be honest here. At first, I used to think, how can I be a girl's girl, but my favourite thing is to ride solo? And it's a question that I've asked God several times, and God, in his own time, took his time to answer me. That answer came from the book of Esther. Esther, in the house, was with a group of women. We know that from reading the word. There are a group of women there. If you notice in the word, there is not one moment where you see the word says, and Esther went back and told her friends, this is what it was like with the king, this is what he gave me, and this is what happened. Absolutely not. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. It's so important for me personally. That was my answer, because I realised when you hold a certain weight, when there are certain things that you've got to accomplish, it does require an element of being solo. And solo doesn't mean that you don't have acquaintances or you don't interact with people. That's not what I'm saying. But there is some motion that you have to do it alone. God also put on my spirit Abraham and Lot. Abraham's elevation required separation from Lot. It required separation from Lot. It doesn't mean that he was solo in the world and like a hermit. You're inside your house and you never speak to anyone. Whether it be business, whether it be anything, it requires people and interaction. Even what I'm doing now, it requires interaction. But running motion for me, really good motion, has to be solo. Even Ruth, these are the 3 examples God gave to me. Even Ruth, she had a sister-in-law. Sometimes as women, Ruth's opportunity and her marriage came about by her willingness to say, okay, my sister-in-law has chosen this path and is not going. Ruth didn't say, let's do some groupie elevation here. Ruth knew what her own path was. Ruth knew what her own motion was. And sticking to that was the very reason why she met Boaz. Sometimes I think as women, we want to make ourselves community projects. And for me, in God's answer and reply to me, made me realise you can be a girl's girl and you can want women to win. But that doesn't mean your motion needs to be as a community project. Doesn't mean your motion, you make group crowd decisions. Absolutely not. So let me know in the comments. I also want to share why I'm a girl's girl, but fundamentally, I truly ride solo. Those first examples have been because of what God has impressed on my mind. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm so sorry. Some of the girls, they cannot stand to see you win. They cannot stand to see you win in any aspect of your life, whether that be because you have a great husband, whether that be because you're being spoiled, whether that be because you're going on the trips, whether that be because you get a degree, whether that be because your business is going well, whether that be because you look good, whether that be anything that involves doing better quote unquote, than them. I don't think you can do better than anyone else because you are on your own. You're in your lane. Whatever it is, you still surpass them all. Your blueprint will never, ever, 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 ever again exist on this earth. You are one-on-one. But the girls, can we just let me know in the comments? Can someone explain this behavior to me? The girls do not like, some of the girls do not like to see the other girls win in any shape, form or capacity. And what I realized is, personally for myself, riding solo, my motion is just what it is. There is no spirit of envy because I don't have anyone within the true vicinity of my space to even feel a moment of envy. I do the things, but there's no one that can say, oh, this is happening in her business. This is happening in her life. This is happening. This is the trips. This is the items. Absolutely not. I've also shared with you, I'm not a public person. I don't care to show what I've bought. I've just gone shopping. I don't care to go on social media and do a haul. I just don't. I don't care to entertain the girls in that way, because for me, my personal experience, some of you may have had different experiences. My personal experience is a good majority of the girls feel envious, rather than using, when I see someone's motion and I think, wow, okay. Firstly, can we clap? Can we clap because she's winning? And then it only acts as inspiration to me. The thought of seeing someone winning, acting as envy, doesn't even make sense. What you see, what you must understand, for me, I think, if God shows me something, if I see a woman and her motion is 10 times stronger than me, I just take that as confirmation, because if God is showing me, remember God said to Abraham, as far as you can see, God is saying, darling, we're extending the distance. We are now extending the distance. I need you to see, because I'm taking with the limits getting increased. But my experience has been contrary to that. So I'm a girl's girl, but the reason I ride solo, one of the fundamental reasons, is because who can stand against envy? God has warned you from the beginning of time, you can't stand against envy. And I have had people do some bizarre things, all because of an envious spirit. No, nobody is above my program, so you can't be in the program if you're going to get envious. The third reason I ride solo is I like to be outside and I like to be doing the things. I don't want to, and this is going to sound very cold, I cannot miss out on life because you don't have the time nor the money to experience the things I want to do on any level. And this applies to every one of us, because it doesn't matter what level you are. Someone might not have the time and money to go to McDonald's. Someone might not have the time and money to go to a Michelin-starred restaurant. Someone might not have the time and money to go on that trip. But what is not going to happen for me personally is I will not be missing out on an experience that God has called me to experience, because I want to operate as a crowd. I always go back to the book of Ruth. Ruth did not have crowd thinking, herd thinking mentality. She did what was best for her. And the moment I think as a woman that you're able to stop thinking as a herd, thinking as a crowd, is the moment you allow yourself to truly start to become that girl. Because guess what? You always choose what's best for you. I will never, ever miss out on catching flights because the girls can't afford the trip. I will never miss out on even simple things. I would consider myself cultured. If you don't like the opera, what does that have to do with me? If you don't like going to the theatre, what does that have to do with me? It is my emotion, it's what I enjoy, so I'm always going to do the things that I enjoy. I encourage you as a woman, there is great ability to elevate your life doing the things that you love to do. If you want to go and play tennis and learn how to play tennis, And if you're a girl who has loads of girlfriends and none of them want to go and get yourself a tennis instructor. Go and do the things that you want to do. You want to go and try a new restaurant, but you don't go and you miss out. Well, guess what? In that restaurant, you're going to meet a potential business partner. In that restaurant, you're going to meet your potential husband. In that restaurant, you were meant to meet someone who was meant to change your life. Your Ruth moment was meant to happen, but because the herd wasn't going to go, you decided that you were going to follow the herd and miss out on your opportunity. So fundamentally, I think my take that I personally take from the book of Ruth is herd thinking will sometimes mean that you miss out on opportunities. Even Abraham and Lot, like imagine Abraham saying to the Most High, no, I want to stay with Lot. You miss out on your opportunity. Focus. I ride solo because of focus. And I want to say I do personally feel that acquaintances and knowing people is important. Why do I say that? In all capacities, whether it be Abraham, whether it be Jesus, is really important. But one thing I want to take away from Jesus that really I only got, I'd say, in the last 2 years, is his time alone. You would often see, and Jesus went by himself, solo dolo, because there's a part, especially I would say, if Jesus was going solo dolo without all of this information that we get, all of this, like, the world is so chaotic. In Jesus's time, I don't know if it was as chaotic it could have been. He still had to have that solo dolo moment. I like focus. And I personally feel the focus comes by being by yourself. You need time to process. You need time to think. You need time to strategize. You need time for God to be able to say to you, here's your next move. If you're constantly in chaos and everything and fun and we're outside, the reason the business isn't picking up is because you can't hear God. The reason that you don't know what your next move is because you are constantly in the chaos. You don't have focus. You can't hear yourself think. A person, for me, I personally think a woman who cannot hear herself think is a woman who is going to be battered by the wind, and she has to accept whatever the world has told her she should think. If you cannot hear yourself think, guess what? You're going to think whatever the world has told you to think. And usually, especially if you're a black woman, they want you to think lowest of the low. They want you to get bottom barrel results on this earth. They want all women to get bottom barrel results, more than likely. But it's geared up so you don't sit on the throne, so you don't wear the crown. Silence, solitude allows for elevation. I did a video which was called I think Solitude, Season of Isolation. As someone who has lived this, every time I have the solo moments, the solitude, the seasons of isolation, it's like God then catapults me 3 ladders up. You get catapulted if you are able to sit still and spend time with God, spend time with yourself. Spending time with yourself is spending time with God. It becomes spending time with God if you pick up your Bible, if you pick up the word. Otherwise, you're just spending time with yourself. The last thing is, darlings, please understand, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm my own best friend. I always say, God is my best friend and I'm my own best friend. No one makes me happier than myself on this earth. And let me tell you, I'm laughing. Please do let me know in the comments if you get this. And you can only be at the point when you get this, depending on how much time you spend with yourself and how much time you spend with God. I am my best friend. Nobody on this earth, absolutely nobody on this earth makes me happier than me. Do you know what this means? It means that it saves me from a lot of pain. There is no external person that I've made an idol on my oxygen. At any point, But for the girlies who are dating or in relationships, this is a powerful space to get to, because at any point you allow your cut off game, your block and delete game, because nobody is your oxygen. You don't need anyone to survive. If they start to malfunction, you are okay with saying goodbye. This is friends, family, relationship, anyone, because you are your best friend. Your motion continues regardless. And do you know why I say I'm a girl's girl and I'm my own best friend? God is my best friend. God is my number one best friend. He's my father, is my number one best friend. God is never going to feel envious of me. The girls feel envious. God absolutely wants my game to be strong. He wants me to win. And guess what? This is the key here. The way I want to win, God is timesing that by 1,000,000. His motion and plan for me is greater than I can ever imagine. His motion and plan for you is greater than you can imagine. I think sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we think the girls, people want more for us than we... No. Only God wants you to multiply in a way that you can't imagine and can enable you to execute. So how does that fit in? Because if you're in this space where you're like, I'm a girl's girl, but actually I like riding solo, how does that fit in with people? I personally feel, I take the example of Jesus and the disciples. I also take the example of, let me finish with Jesus first. Jesus and his disciples. With Jesus and his disciples, you can have community, you can have interactions with people, you can be in a space, whether in business, whether it be in life, there are social... Do you know, can I just say, there are many girls, because my journey to this point, there are women who have said something to me, shared something to me, not like, whether it be a word, whether it be advice, whether it be a tip, whether it's no, do this, move like this. And it has changed my life. I thank God for every single one of those women. So in me saying I ride solo dolo, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying lock your door and be in your house by yourself. Absolutely not. There is no becoming that girl if you are locked inside. That is the devil stealing your life from you. That is the devil you are meant to be doing the thing. So I don't mean don't have a wise woman, don't have community, but I mean you have to run the motion by yourself. Jesus had disciples. They had a purpose together. They were running them. But when it was time, he was able, let me leave the crowds. Let me spend time by myself. It's so important to realize the distinction. And I firmly believe realizing the distinction determines the type of girl and what you can achieve. The distinction is very, very important. And for the girls, if you have to get comfortable with doing the things by yourself. I firmly say, I encourage you, go and take the trip. Don't wait for someone. Go and book the pottery class. Don't wait for someone. Go and do the concert. Don't wait for someone. The more time you pour into yourself, the better you become. You waiting, you are delaying your becoming. If you're waiting, you are delaying your becoming and delaying your destiny, when actually you are one of one. There is only going to be one of Sarah, one of Louise, one of Rebecca, one of Naomi. There is only one of you. And if you do not run your motion, there's not going to be anyone else that's going to be able to run it ever again on this earth. The other thing to realize is no one's destiny has ever been repeated in the Bible. No one can run your destiny for you. The girls can't run your destiny for you. You have to run this destiny for yourself. You have to run the race for yourself. Face your front, run your race. And let me know in the comments. Please let me know if you actually understand this, because I can't be the only person where you're a girl's girl, but we're riding this one solo.